Last week, the open beta trial of Battlefield 5 was available for players on PS4, Xbox, and PC. From the surface, there aren't any drastic changes, but there were definitely a few nips and tucks that seemed to be pushing the game in a slightly different direction. And even though this was only a beta, and many features will still be tweaked even way after release, these slight changes will hopefully create a better Battlefield experience than ever before. So, let's briefly mull over some of these features and changes so we can try to figure out what will be great about Battlefield 5. Let's begin at the menu, shall we? When taking a look through your armory, or classes, we can notice that every class seems to have an upcoming combat role feature. Unfortunately, this wasn't accessible during the beta, but we can take a few guesses as to what these will affect. First off, if Battlefield 1 is any indication, these combat roles may offer varying combinations of perks to affect how you want to play that class. You know those perks that randomly appeared in Battlefield 1 a few updates back? Maybe this time there will be a little more versatility behind them. Additionally, these combat roles may even affect the sort of boosts your class gets, such as healing or resupplying teammates, since DICE seems to be breaking a few of the walls between class exclusivity. We can hope that this means that there will be some way to discern between slight communication issues like knowing if a nearby medic is even suited with the equipment to heal you. Because if you've played more than 5 minutes of another Battlefield game, you would know how frustrating it is to have a medic standing right on top of you with no intention of healing you. But maybe we'll still have to deal with that. After all, some things never change. Beyond the combat roles, we see some easily accessed customizability of weapons and vehicles. Each weapon has unlockable perks at different ranks, so it looks like rather than having to level up to unlock that one gun that really works for you, players may be able to stick with an early gun that they're comfortable with and just modify it to suit their needs. Destruction on the 2 available maps is similar to the level of destruction in Battlefield 1. This still isn't quite as fully interactive as Bad Company 2, but honestly this aids the gameplay. While some people claim they still want that level of total destruction, the strategy needed in using the environment to your advantage is what current Battlefield games really rely on for that even flow of the online experience. It's easy to lay waste to an entire field, but using the alleys and windows to your advantage keeps the battle in favor of whoever best manipulates the world around them. The new bit of building adapts your defensive tactics to at least slow your enemies, keep you hidden, and bide some time. Whenever you're holding down a point in an objective-based mode, you and your squad can quickly throw up some fortifications on the windows and some previously destroyed sections of a building in order to potentially bottleneck your enemies into a certain entry point, or at least keep them from sniping you through a window. Healing and reviving are quite a bit different this time around. Instead of totally unconscious as you wait for a potential medic, you now go into a bleeding out phase similar to Rainbow Six Siege, where you are able to either stem your blood flow and wait for help, or speed it up a little bit to get to your respawn overview quicker. The first noticeable effect this has is a benefit to anyone playing the medic class, being that downed teammates cannot override the bleed out immediately as in previous games, so you have time to reach and revive them. The reviving also takes longer. It's no longer a single use of equipment like the syringe or defibs, but a timed interaction using the action button. This causes a little bit of sloppiness like hitbox issues or even swapping guns with your downed teammate as you heal them, but hopefully those issues will be cleaned up in the full release. Another big change to reviving is that any class can revive a downed teammate as long as they are in your squad. However, medics still get a boost in the amount of time it takes. But luckily, this may incentivize your squad mates to heal you rather than waiting around for a random medic who probably is just using the class for the guns and has no intention of healing you. In case you didn't play the beta, I will also point out that aside from multiplayer, there were 2 inaccessible game modes on the main menu. The first is a return to the war stories that we saw in Battlefield 1, likely using the same format of following a single character through varying solo gameplay war fronts. The other new mode is titled Combined Arms, which is a 1 to 4 player cooperative game mode that supposedly will be some mission-based mode that provides a middle ground between offline play and full-out multiplayer. We'll have to keep an eye on that mode, especially if you're someone who likes to squad up with some friends. By the end of this open beta, the conclusion to draw seems to be that DICE is trying to make a few adaptations to change the speed of battles, but aren't trying to do anything incredibly different with this entry. I imagine we would have some taste of anything new they had in this beta. However, hopefully the Combined Arms co-op mode proves to be an interesting twist on the typical Battlefield experience, for those that aren't in the mood for a chaotic all-out war with strangers. But with the foundation already laid by Battlefield 1, it seems that this movement into a more customizable World War II environment will change the flow of battle and push the game towards a more objective-based experience for online players. And if you don't mind my saying, I think that's what will be great about Battlefield 5.